I want to hear some intensity. Okay. Come on out, guys. Lee and Martin. Woo!
Am I hot? I'll sit here. You can put your feet up on there. Yeah. All right.
There we go. I like it. I feel far away from you. I'm so sorry.
From what I heard, it's probably safer that way.
It's funny, man. You know, I was researching, you know, everybody that I was interviewing today, and I remember when I had seen you in Pirates, I'm usually really good at like spotting. I'm like, oh, that's the person from that, and whatever else. And I just stared at you for the whole movie going, I know this person, but he looks nothing like what he usually looks like, so I have no idea where I know him from. Seinfeld. I was looking back, I'm like, that's
You know what? I mean, that's the whole life of a character actor, is like connect the dots. You know, I've done some amazing stuff, and
you really have, dude. Can I just
not the work, but I'm just saying jobs. But being as part of the Star Trek franchise, or the Seinfeld franchise, Tales of the Crypt, all these things.
Night Court, D&D.
Night Court, yeah. Well, D&D.
Water
World.
Yeah.
Were you the tall guy in Night Court?
I was the tall guy.
Oh, okay.
But I will, man. I saw some. I mean, but you know, those early days of TV were crazy. My first TV show was like Perfect Strangers. If anyone even remembers that.
One of my favorite shows.
And I remember that there was an actor on it. He goes, his name was Tony Longo. He goes, let's go to Dallas and see what they got on craft service. So we used to go to the Dallas set and like get sandwiches off the set because food was so much better. And people would look at us like, who are you? So I'm Dr. Casas. Dr. Abdul Casas.
It's funny, when I was reading the thing, I jumped out at me. You guys both played demons on was it Charmed? I think on Charmed.
Charmed. I did Charmed.
I was like, they both played demons on Charmed. There we go. There's the link. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, and Marty and I wear the makeup a lot.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is the fact that, you know, we'll sit there and take it for 4 hours, you know? Because let's be honest, it sucks.
I give it. I don't know about taking it. You might take it.
So you're a stunt guy originally, or did you start as a stunt?
First.
An actor first, and you ended up doing a lot of stunt stuff? How'd you get into the stunt side of things?
Once I moved out to LA, you know, there was a lot of stunt guys that were coming to me on the sets of movies that I was doing. Like, you know, before that, I mean, not just before that, but most of the other little people they knew out in LA were, you know, either stand-ins or stunt doubles for kids, or, you know, whatever, creatures. And you're like, hey, did you ever think about doing stunts? And because I was more proportionate, and I was like, oh, you know, whatever, I'd be cool with it. And then, so I started doing stunts for like, I do stunts for Warwick Davis, a lot of the other little guys, and then kids, and then, again, creature work. So like when Lee was Cousin It, I would come in and be his stunt double. I'm just kidding. That was a bad joke.
Dude, when I saw him backstage with the black beard for a minute, I looked and I was like, dude, man, you could pass as Macho Man Randy Savage in a biopic like a heartbeat.
I've gotten that a lot. I've actually been, I was somewhere recently where they were like, Macho Man's here. And everyone was like, I'm looking around and I realized they're talking about me.
Isn't Macho Man dead?
I mean, I'm macho, but that's about it, you know?
I thought you were on the Amish Mafia, maybe.
Oh, that would be cool. I would do it.
Yeah?
I'm an actor. I'm employed now, but I will, you know, probably be available at some point.
At some point.
It's like,
we all will.
If that's a show, if the Amish Mafia is a show, I mean, people are watching Duck Dynasty. Seriously, I mean, really, peeps, you know what I mean? And that's the thing in TV, but this is a key point, is that in TV, it doesn't matter if the show's any good. It just matters if someone watches it. Yeah, it's true,
That's true.
Right? So, you know, not that there's no accounting for taste, but I like to say that, you know, if you look at the history of my art form, of this art form, you know, go back 2,000 years or even more, actors were, sacred members of society, the idea of telling a story and having someone, like, for example, I'm not acting if someone's not watching me. Right? The audience is the main part of defining the art, someone watching you. So what happened was...
That is very deep.
Well, no, it gets
true,
deeper,
yeah.
though.
If a tree falls in the forest...
It's going to get way deeper here.
Yeah.
Just hang on. Because what happened was, look, the actors, the stories, if you ever been to Greece, you ever been to the ancient theaters? This is the thing. This is why you go to college, and this is how you end up a stunt guy. Because... This is it. This is it. This part up here, we only use 3%, 2%, 4%.
Oh!
Who's taking it now? Can I finish my lecture? Or
Yes,
what?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Or is this just going to be a rip? Because we have
6
done
inches,
that.
3
That's
inches.
usually how our panels are. This is tame. We're just warming up. But actors were high priests of the society in ancient Greece. Telling of the story was a sacred thing. It was only then when the religion started to rise up and we got into competition with the church in the telling of the story and having the power of the people. Then for 2,000 years we were full Da Vinci Code, right? No actors or dogs allowed, not allowed to live in the cities, not allowed to own property, right? And even up until, look, an actor killed Lincoln. And no, but I mean, if you look at no actors and dogs allowed, they were looked down upon in society. What happened was then they invent that. They invent the big screen, something more powerful than the written word. And suddenly I got 1,000 people listening to me talking in a room, right? And this is why you have Kardashian and Amish Mafia and all that, because it's a cult of personality, because it's so powerful that you got to put up with it. But I'm just saying in the last 100 years, we've been given way too much power in society. The guys that are going to clean up this convention, the garbage man's more important than the movie star to society. But at the end of the day, when that teacher, that nurse, at the end of the day, when that person needs to be told a good story, that's what we're there for.
They might make more than we do, but I don't know about it.
Definitely you and me. All right, that's it for the lecture now. Now I'm just telling dirty jokes.
Yeah, I don't know where I was now. Now, so you guys did 3 movies together, relatively back to back. I assume you developed a pretty nice repartee. I can already see it happening. So, do you guys hang like outside of the?
Oh yeah, we definitely like. I remember P1. I was pretty novice to the industry still. Lee had already been a veteran for 20 years, and I still remember like no offense to him. I had seen him on Seinfeld,
Yeah.
but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. And I went to go to craft service, and here this guy walks up and he's like, totally friendly, like, hey dude, totally, like I was on the same level as he was, and just like this coolest guy, for a big actor to come up and talk to me was like, wow. And then you realize that they're just as, wow,
I mean,
Lee's cool.
I had that whole thing. Listen, man, we are best pals. And we couldn't disagree more on certain issues. Sometimes the politics, we're ready to fight each other and whatever. But in terms of loving the people you go to war with, that's the one thing. When we're making these movies, we're away from home. I call it the Hollywood military. They tell you when you're going to go, when you're going to wake up, when you're going to eat. So you do form tight bonds with your buddies. And especially a movie like Pirates, where half of the time you could have died. I mean, if you don't, they're going to blow. It's a Jerry Bruckheimer production, folks. This couch is going to blow up. So and let me tell you something, when they blow stuff up in the movies, all that stuff flying through the air, it's cork. They call it cork mortars. They stuff it into mortars and they shoot it in the air. It hurts. And I'm not a stunt guy. Like, you know what I mean? And you're in the midst of it. So you definitely bond in that gallows humor, and that's why the sense of humor between co-stars is always just a little dirty, because you've been through the wars together, and you really love the person because you see them at their best, you see them when they're puking behind the green screen,
Always with that story.
What story?
The story that he did,
What's your version of his story?
What's that?
What's your version of his story?
whatever he's going to tell you, except it's him who did
I
it.
wasn't in the sequence. That was in the second pirate movie when the I
When we're in
escaped.
the
I'm in
bone
the
cage.
rowboat discussing the Bible. Oh, I'm talking about cats and dogfish and all this stuff. But those guys were locked in the bone cage, and they had to do this major swinging up in the air. And he's got motion sickness. I mean, he gets sick in the car, right?
Well,
I mean,
the worst, yeah, and the worst thing is in the movies, all you see is us going back and forth. Now that's like a swing. That doesn't get me sick. What you don't see is after about twice, it starts spinning. So now you're like a watch, and after about 20 times spinning, and it's like, all right, get me to the ground, and so they took their time bringing it down, and Gore was like, no, get him down. He's gonna get sick. So as soon as literally we got maybe 3 feet off the ground, they weren't really where we would have to need help getting out of it. We could really step through the hole and get the hell out of there. So I jumped out from underneath and ran for the blue screen, and I thought I was far enough behind the blue screen that nobody could see. Well, a cameraman came running over there behind.
yeah,
And
because they EPK everything.
yeah, they do. And that morning, I wasn't feeling that great going to work, so dumb me goes and eats like 4 huge chocolate brownies and like
Breakfast at
4
Champions.
purple Gatorades. And it just all came up, and it was like, so of course they put that on the DVD, like whatever, those extra stories or whatever.
Bloopers.
Not pretty. So,
Are you guys?
and they're all laughing.
Are you guys down to answer some questions?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Can we get a line going? We got one microphone right here. We could form a little line.
Like, why are you
heading
late?
in that direction? Then we got one right over there, and we'll just go back and forth. First question.
Oh. Hello.
Hello.
So both of you were on Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was wondering if there was any like big pranks that were kind of around the set.
Pranks? Pranks? Oh.
All day long in this room,
I gotta
actors
admit,
have been talking about pranking each
You
other.
know what's weird? It's like, I'm not a prankster. I don't dish it out because I definitely don't take it well. So you pull a prank on me, I'm gonna dump a ton of dirt on you. I just am not the guy. I don't do it. I don't play it. I enjoy it from a distance. I'm not in on it, And it's weird because Johnny's not in on it.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, except for the one picture. Marty did a movie called Knee High PI. There was one good prank that I can think of. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Do you want
I was in this particular, was a Comedy Central movie, and it was like a backdoor pilot for a TV show, which never went. But in the sequence, I've talked my ex-girlfriend back to this office where she thinks she's coming to save me from a fire. And I'm on a couch like this with a hot fudge sundae between my legs. And I'm naked in a cowboy hat and cowboy boots. So she comes in and realizes that it's all a ruse. So she leaves. Well, I, jump up and I leave. Well, the director, the costumer thought that, I was gonna wear there's kids in the place, but a sock over it. And that's what I thought too. And the director was like, no, he's gotta be fully naked. And I'm like, are you crazy? And whatever, worst comes to worst. I ended up being an 18-hour day, longest day of my life. I was naked for 18 hours that whole day. So everybody's seen you by then. Well, anyway, one of the scenes is from behind. We're by this elevator, and I'm standing with my hands on my hip, and you see everything from behind. And that picture had somehow made it to Johnny. And one lunch hour, Johnny decided to enroll Joel Harlow, which is the real magic man behind all the special effects. I mean, I love V. Neal, but honestly, on Pirates, it was Joel Harlow. And Joel had Photoshop Johnny's driver in where the woman was standing, and that driver happened to be standing there that day, like this. And so he happened to also put a nice 12-inch thing coming out of his hands, which looked like I was, from behind about to. So, yeah. So I come into the makeup trailer after lunch, we're supposed to get touch-ups, and there's this damn thing up on the mirror, and in my trailer, and I didn't even realize it on the mirror. It wasn't until I got back to my trailer, and there's a big yellow envelope on my table, and I open it. I'm like, what the? And I ran over to the makeup trailer, and then I see it's plastered all over the place, and everybody's laughing, and nobody wanted to take credit for it. And then I realized, this is Johnny's doing. So every once in a while, I've been on other things where we do pranks all the time. Army Hammer's a big prankster guy, but some of the bigger ones you don't want to. You're afraid to. You don't want to prank the big star because you don't know if you're gonna.
Yeah, I think it's always the big star. If the big star's pulling the prank, it's cool.
Yeah.
But if anyone else, you get yourself fired. I'm not.
Not on Stargate.
I'll be honest. I'm there to work.
Not on Stargate.
I'm there to work. Yeah. You guys can do what you want. I got enough to worry about. I got lines to remember and marks to hit, and you know what I mean. At the end of the day, it's whatever gets you through. Certainly a lot of jokes and a lot of funny things, but I don't know. I just can't. I personally can't take them.
I'm not huge on it either. We just heard about pranks all day long,
yeah,
so it's on their minds.
The worst thing you can do is piss me off, be honest with you. Because I'm like, I may seem like a nice dude, but that's the one thing. If someone mistakes kindness for weakness with me, it's like a rage. I don't even know where it comes from. So
I can see it
best
behind the
not to
eyes.
do. I like to say I play psychos for a reason,
He's pretty fierce.
Yeah.
All 5'2" of you.
But even in the theater, and I've spent a lot of time in the theater, I've just never been just don't go for that. Never float it. But maybe later, got something good prank, we'll go for it on this one.
He's got a prank he likes to
He
show
still
you.
has to get revenge on Johnny.
Yeah, no.
That's what you should be helping with.
I think Lone Ranger
That would be to
was
be
his
in another
revenge
one of
on
his
Johnny.
movies. What?
It's
I
unfortunate
think,
because
dude, Lone Ranger's like Hurt Pirates 5. Let's be honest now.
Well, we were
Origin
supposed to be
stories
anyway.
suck. Let's be honest. Origin stories suck. Westerns are dead. Whenever you have to claim that you're 1/18th Cherokee Indian, like my great-grandfather, it's always a Cherokee. Come on. It was if they had whole clothed it and not called it Lone Ranger and made it a badass Western with the cool character, and I think it's a big hit. Mark my words, you watch that movie in 2 years, you're gonna go, this is a good picture.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, Lone Ranger is awesome, and it's what you should be teaching your kids. To be a good person, even when all the people around you are not.
See,
It's a really good movie.
I really think that the critics were mean to Johnny and to Jerry and to the studio on this one. And it's really hurt our future in terms of more pirates, because now they've not only pushed the next one a year, but as of a couple days ago, Bruckheimer and Disney divorced. So Jerry's no longer making movies, at least not right now, for Disney. So I don't know. But I definitely believe that the critics took a shot at Johnny, made it very personal, pissed him off, because he had been the fair-haired boy who could do no wrong for so long. And, that's just how our society is. We tear people down when they show that sign of weakness, whether they really truly deserve it or not. In my humble opinion, it wasn't as bad a picture as everyone said, but those are the causes.
I totally agree with you. Next question over there.
I wanted to welcome you to the city of my birth. Welcome to Portland.
Thanks very much. I like Portland, for the record. It's a cool town.
I'm definitely going to go see that movie now. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
for
It's
definitely,
worth seeing, man. It really is.
I'm going to see that movie because of word of mouth. I heard somebody, tell me it's a really great movie, so I'll go see that.
Well, I definitely, I will say this, I don't know if I'd call it a really great movie, to be honest, because I'm sure everything's being recorded.
That's fine.
But what
I'll
I
go on
will
record.
say is that, my point being is that it's way better Like, I dug it. You know, it's long. Gore likes long movies. But if you watch it in the comfort of home with nice, you know, whatever it is, you'll be like, well, this movie is not bad at all. Amazing action sequences, amazing creativity. The fact is, it's a hackneyed dude in a mask that has an Indian sidekick, and it's a story from the 50s, you know?
When has Johnny never done a good, ever not done a good movie? I mean, everything Johnny's ever done has been, you know,
The Tourist,
even if he just makes a
no,
cameo.
The Tourist was not good.
Johnny's awesome. What?
They recast him, that Tourist, I mean, he's done a few, but I mean, he's...
Oh, The Tourist, that wasn't his fault, that was the girl.
He got recast in it. I'm not saying, listen.
Welcome back to At the Movies with...
Well, I mean, let's be honest. If we're talking about, you know, one of our hero and one of our cool guys, and to not say that his humanity and the way he treats people as a #1 star of the world is not one of the best attitudes of any.
He is.
Because there's a rule in the business: whoever your #1 on the call sheet is, their attitude dictates how everyone else gets to act. So if you have a, you know, quote unquote douchebag and the #1, then I guarantee that allows the rest of us to act foolish. Because we're watching this dude get away with it or this chick get away with it. I mean, I'm on a show now called Once Upon a Time. Thank you.
Why do you keep pronouncing it like that?
our-
Once upon a time. What's wrong with
Because we
just
call
once
it
upon
once.
a time?
So I just wanted to hear
Once
him
upon a
scream.
time.
But our lead actress is Jennifer Goodwin. And Ginny is one of the coolest people on the earth.
Yeah.
She is a class. She's from Memphis, Tennessee. And she is the most charming, wonderful, intelligent, kind-hearted. She's the kind of woman that when I first worked on the pilot, we'd worked all night, and I had the makeup on, so I had to clean up. She waited 45 minutes so we could go to Denny's together. At like 5 in the morning, she hung out for me. And I was like, that was like my first meeting her. You know, at #1, we're going to Denny's, which is awesome. You know, just keep it real. We need a slam immediately. And so her humanity, Johnny's humanity, helps drive and really creates a successful show, because I know for a fact Johnny saves his bullets for producers. On only when there was an issue, like we were gonna get flattened by Wilma, this Cat 5 hurricane. And they were gonna leave, they were just gonna take the key people and the actors and fly them off and leave like a couple hundred crew people locked down so that we could get production up and running when the hurricane passed. And Johnny's like, no effing way, everyone's out of here. And he changed it, remember? We stopped production so that they went and had a conference while he'd watch Weather Channel in his room. Because that thing was dead center and they were gonna leave people, and he's like, nope. Hadn't once pulled that card. Johnny's the kind of guy that stayed 3.5
that was a
hours
yacht, by the way.
after to sign for all the fans. More than once he would do it. So the fact that he's getting some bad press on one movie and it's pissed him off, I mean, I think that's a shame. I think it's a shame what they did to him, and some of those dudes should walk a mile in his shoes. I really think that when you're ready to take on someone else in life, everybody, walk a mile in their shoes before you take a shot at them. That guy behind the counter that's at customer service, or the movie star who's just trying to tell a story. You try it. You get in front of the camera and be vulnerable. You deal with angry people every day. It would help the world out a lot if we just took a step in somebody else's shoes before we took that
I never
shot.
understood why a critic. You know, one thing I never understood is why most of the movie critics are people who were never in movies or did any acting in it at all, and they can critique us.
Dude, we need critics because, again, that's the people
Yeah, but
watching
shouldn't
it.
it
They
be
judge it.
shouldn't it be
I got a friend of mine.
retired actors?
I got a friend of mine now. We had this discussion like, why are you an actor? And my buddy, one of the dwarves on Once Upon a Time, I won't say which one because it's outrageous. On
Twice
Once
Upon a Time.
Going once.
I'm also going to be on Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. No, but my buddy goes, I go, buddy, why do you do it? You know, we're
Job
just talking.
stealer.
He goes, I do it to create art. And I looked at him for a long time before I go, you know why I do it? I do it for the money, and I do it for the attention. The art is what the audience says it is. I don't define that. I mean, Van Gogh never sold a painting. He died thinking he was a shitty artist, right? So we're lucky in this day and age. We get this immediate feedback. It just sometimes it doesn't work in your favor, and you got to be strong enough to like go, I'm quitting the business. But they took that. Their shots at him were mean, not fair, and unfortunately not really necessarily true completely. Which pissed him off.
You should hope to make art. If you try to make it, it's not always going to come out. Because if you're looking at it like it's art, it's
nothing we do, really in film and TV, are we going out defining it as art? I don't think. I mean, maybe there's one or two filmmakers out there that are truly Terrence Malick, but I fall asleep in his movies. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're going to a war movie and like it's like, dude, are you gonna shoot someone or what? It's beautiful, but I mean, what's happening? So there is a responsibility to like tell a story and move it forward and entertain me.
Hey, thank you. I just want to throw this out real quick. I didn't get to ask questions, so.
You didn't.
I know. You just welcomed us to Portland, and man, we take over.
Welcome to Portland.
You respond here.
So real quick, I love Once Upon a Time, and we got caught up, and then we found The Cape, and we got caught up on that. I'd like to see both of you guys together in a show. Can he come in and play with you in Once Upon a Time?
Yeah,
Nope.
I mean, if I try and get him in there every
He took
week.
the dwarf part. What am I gonna do?
Thank you.
You know what?
He's as tall as
Wait a second.
Snow White.
Still.
I also took, when I got the dwarf in Dungeons and Dragons,
I wasn't even
he
around.
was mad about that for sure. I go, dude, I'm just a
I
foot and a
wasn't
half
born.
funnier. I'm just a foot and a half funnier. That's all it is. And actually,
I wasn't born yet.
you were born. Yeah, right. I mean, I might be 51, but at least I'm honest about my age, Martin.
Ah, okay. Good one.
Okay, so I know that you were on Once Upon a Time, and I was
Once.
I was wondering if there was any funny moments from behind the scenes that you could tell us.
Well, I mean, every day on that show's pretty funny because we like each other. I mean, it's weird on every set, every day is, especially if you're doing drama, you are laughing right up until they say action, unless you really gotta kind of suck it up and deliver an emotional moment, and find it. Because one of the things is if you're dealing with sadness and loss and all these issues all the time, it's a drag emotionally, right? So, oh man, Once Upon a Time, the most fun we have is off the set. We do a lot of go-kart racing. So that's probably the most fun thing that we do on Once Upon a Time is we rent this go-kart track and we just crash each other into the wall.
Can I ask you a question? The girl that plays Snow White's daughter, does she have that same look on her face when she's go-kart riding? The same.
I don't know.
The same look she
Maybe you
can't
should
peel off
ask
her
her
face?
2 million Twitter followers.
Well,
I don't know, Bailey Madison, she's on a new show. She's a talented actress, but she doesn't play her daughter, she plays young Snow.
oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, she's Snow White. She is Snow White. She's just young Snow.
No, I meant the cop. The
Oh,
blonde.
you meant Jennifer Morrison?
Yeah.
You wish.
No. She has the same look, and
J-Mo can do no wrong.
Okay.
I'm not gonna slag on
I-
J-Mo,
hey, I
'cause
lo-
J-Mo's
I
good.
love the show.
Listen, J-Mo has a very tough part on that show, because she's a doubter in a world of believers. So she's challenged by the writers to play, not an easy part, especially in that first season when she had to you're the savior. I mean, if you were to go up to someone and tell them they're the savior, that's a tough load to swallow. There's no better scene in any. There's no better
Someone
scene
who's
in
good at
any.
swallowing.
There's no, dude. There's no better scene in any Once Upon a Time than in the pilot when she's the bail bondswoman, and she's on the date with the guy, and the guy spills the wine, and he's like, "Really?" She goes chasing after him like a Terminator and smashes his face into the steering wheel. That was, to me is like, okay, that's the essence of that girl. She's a tough kid, that character. So I heartily disagree.
How about the evil witch? Because
Lana is amazing.
she's amazing. And the guy who
Gorgeous.
plays Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, Bobby Carlyle is fantastic, brilliant actor. Brilliant. I mean, the one thing I will admit, and this is gonna sound really bad, but I mean, you gotta be good to be on that show. That's why we need you on there, bro, because you don't, no, it's weird. You go toe to toe with these guys and it's intimidating. Like, I played a couple scenes with Carlisle before I got to know him really good. Like one where he has to choke me and kill me. And I was like, dude, you're so intense, but trust me, there was no tension. His professionalism and his expertise is beyond the pale. And what a cool dude and what a great guy to go out with. And I think that ultimately is where we have our best time. Yeah, we spoon in our trailers. Because you're not there, so who am I supposed to spoon with, Martin?
Cheating on me. We used to spoon a lot, by the way. Until I moved away, that's all.
Hello. I love all of your work on Once Upon a Time.
Good job. Thank you.
And I was just curious about, I know that a lot of the staff and writers from Lost are working on the show, and I know how locked down a lot of script details were locked up when Lost was first coming out. I was wondering if the same thing is true for the script for Once Upon a Time, and also if when you're reading an episode script for the first time, do you kind of geek out like the rest of us about what's happening, or like, oh, Rumble and Belle, they're kissing again, or
yeah,
or I have to do this on page 12, what?
This is what an actor does. Oh, I got a line there, I got a line there. And you count up how many lines you have versus the other guy. And you read the story at the same time, but it's like, at the end, you'll find that everybody's got like a me and all these check marks of how many lines you have.
Actually, the old joke in Hollywood is bullshit, 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 my line, bullshit,
That's
bullshit,
true.
bullshit. No, those scripts are good reads. And they absolutely are. And we are given no information. We're not even given hints a lot of the time. So yeah, it's a surprise. I mean, for example, in that first season when I got my own episode, I mean that was a big moment for me as a person, as an actor, and to be trusted. I mean, I'm a recurring character. I'm not a regular character. So there are definitely times when you're kind of better take the high road and just be humble about it because you got your work set out in front of you. I like to say that you're asking the universe and our business for probably the most egocentric thing you could ever ask for. A job in this business? My God, that's all about me. I'm so wonderful, right? So that if you are lucky enough to get that, make sure to enjoy it. And don't take it out on everyone. The easiest way to get an actor to bitch is give him a job. So just keep control of that, And the writing on TV is key. Because you need 24 or 26, whatever it is that you're bought for that season, great scripts. So we're lucky to have a Jane Espenson on the staff to help Adam and Eddie and all the guys they've assembled. The real heroes of TV are the writers, no doubt. That's why they control it. Film is controlled by a director in a marshalling way that has to be 2 to 5 years on a project. When everyone else is sick of it, you still have to maintain that, be the most enthusiastic guy on the production. So we're, anytime the Losties, and to have Damon Lindelof as a godfather and these people overlooking and kind of keeping an eye out for what the guys are up to has really helped us for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Hi, as a costume person, I'm wondering what your favorite costumes are in anything you've done, both of you.
Naked. No, I'm kidding.
I gotta say naked too.
I'm kidding.
Because listen, I did the first full frontal male nudity on television, network TV. Does anyone ever see a show called Action?
Mr. Ed, what?
No? Yeah, you gotta go look it up. I'm naked all the time on that show. And I was skinnier too. I was in good shape. Yeah, but it's a show about Hollywood. And I basically play the biggest dick in Hollywood, and he likes to prove it in meetings and everything. He's basically a Velvet Mafia character. So it's a little bit of a salty show, but we did about 13 of them in 1999, and I'll never forget I had to do a nude scene, and it was in the pilot, And Ted Demme, the late director, was directing the pilot. And they always come up to you, just like Marty said, they come up to you with the tape and with the little underwear, and they go, you can wear this. And I was like, and they go, there'll only be 5 people in the room with you. And I look at them and go, and 100 around the monitor.
Yep. So many people that never come down to the set, all of a sudden make sure they're there that day.
It's a party!
And their family, and
But see, the difference between you and me, between a professional actor and someone that may do theater or once did theater, the difference is, I mean, it's the courage. Because in other words, I see that part as the character. I don't care about me.
That's true.
The character's naked in the shower. If I sit there and go, Lee's uptight because maybe I should drink tons of water and pull on it a little, whatever it is.
Just say your character
Whatever
only
it is,
has
right?
a little one.
Does that character think that way? You know? So,
That's true. I never thought about that way.
yeah. You always, and a young actor, when I'm directing or teaching young actors, right? And you'll watch them on stage, they're so self-conscious. You can see the hands moving a little bit. Why? Because they're thinking of themselves. You have to, that's why we call it getting into character. So your choices in that moment, and this is what's interesting, because you as the actor have to know that when they say action, that's who you are. You're not yourself, you're the character. And my character on that show was someone that was so proud of his phallus, and that's how he intimidated people. You watch it. It's one of the great comedic, jokes. And I would show up and I didn't even know. I'd run into my trailer, I'd go, do I have clothes? Oh God, no clothes! And I had proctological examinations. I mean, I had to go through all this kind of weird stuff. You watch it, it's a crazy show. Everyone's like, shh.
In his case, though, it's art imitates life, because this man is hung like a horse. I would know, because we spoon a lot. It's like having a back support.
Hey, little guy. You're
Hello.
next.
So, have you made any more stories than Once Upon a Time?
Once upon a time.
What do you mean?
Once.
What do you mean, bro? You mean other stories? In what way, my friend? Because I've been doing, how old are you?
9.
9. So I've been acting as a professional actor since you were minus 18. And I've been lucky enough to do all kinds of stories. I've made movies in China, kung fu movies in China, and I've made D&D movies and Waterworld movies and all kinds of movies. And most of them are really bad. So they should be very good to watch.
So, I meant like
Wait, no, it's still going.
Yeah, finish. Get your real question up.
books, too.
Books? Well, let me tell you something about books. There's no more important thing you can do as a young man than be a great, voracious reader.
Oh, yeah.
There's more good stuff happens in books than in real life. And you can open a book and go anywhere in the world and live any kind of life and any kind of experience. So,
And even better, you could learn things.
correct. So I read all the time. And I read every day, and we read a lot of books as actors to find new stories and new ideas and new novels. So it's a very big part of what we do. We're good readers. I don't even think I answered his question, but whatever.
Okay.
Hi, so my question is...
And that's one to grow on.
What an evil MC. Don't do any nude pictures around Marty. We'll be posting it up here later.
So my question is about Once Upon a Time, because Once Upon a Time does a really good job, like, fleshing out their characters.
Thank you.
Putting surprising stuff in there. What was the most interesting
I mean, I think the
aspect?
biggest one for me was that Red was the wolf. I mean, that was the one that got me, because that was not a script I was in.
That was a beautiful choice.
That was not a script I was in. So when she ate her boyfriend, that was pretty gnarly, you know? But one of the things that I want to emphasize to you guys about great writing and what goes into it and what you're talking about here, and it was the very same thing that happened. It was the investment they made on the first Pirates, was that these are stories that are of the public. The public knows these stories. So the challenge to a writer in taking on a property that's already sort of known by the audience is making sure the audience knows that it's their story we're telling in a new way. So for example, in the world of Pirates of the Caribbean, there were 4 to 5 to 10 images in the movie that were based on images of the ride. Dog with keys, Gibbs in the mud with pigs, the drop-in, the stuff that happens within the lines that are said, right? That the Disney fans, the ones that made the show a hit, because don't forget that the studio didn't believe in us in that movie, right? In a similar way that Oncers have taken on our new show and through Twitter, through Facebook, have really driven us through the roof, it's because we take the fairy tale characters that we all know and love and don't change where they start and where they finish, we change the middle. The stuff that Walt never talked about, or it wasn't in his flicks, or it wasn't in the Grimm, it's in there somewhere, right? But it lets you as an audience member who loves fairy tales, and all of us that have loved them, know that we're not making it up a whole story, we're taking what you know and kind of just telling it in a fresh way, right? So definitely the Red Ride. I mean, it was pretty neat when I found out that the whole dwarf thing, we're hatched from eggs, and I'm born with a full beard looking like a rabbi. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
All right, we only have like we only have like 2 minutes left, so if we can make these fast questions, we might be able to get through all 3, but let's try to keep that in mind.
Oh yeah, good luck.
Hello, Puppet.
Hello, Puppet. If you come to my table, I'll do it better.
That was the first thing I thought when I found out I was interviewing you. I was like, hello, Puppet. Yeah, I was like, just immediately.
You know, the key, just put some stink on it, get real close to the mic, like eat the mic, go, hello, Puppet. Because don't forget, it's a 17-year-old Keira Knightley.
16, I thought.
Is she 16? She's like ace face of the world, the face of Chanel, and you're about to go, I'm about to devour you until she says parlay.
Yeah, right?
And then you see, then I had that code of ethics that made me go, parlay.
And everybody knows about parlay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly
So,
right.
other than the Once and Once spinoff, are you doing actually any other movies? I know that Pirates 5 is on hold. Are you in that?
Well, we sort of were. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's a sort of were thing. I'll be honest. Once the TV series season starts up, they keep me busy enough, you know, that it's hard for me to be able to take anything else. Because they're sort of even if they don't use me all the time, they sort of have first position, so there's always the threat of using me, which makes everyone else say I'm not available, you know. So we better hope for a lot of Once and Once Wonderlands. Let's get my kid new shoes.
We did watch Once for a while until my DVR died. You were awesome.
Thanks.
I loved you in POTC, both of you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's like total hardcore POTC fan. But wanted to ask you something else too. Slipped my mind. Sorry. Are you ever planning on doing something where you're the front man, like what Johnny is?
God, you could wish for that. I mean, I think that has to happen. There's a lot of things that have to line up. The stars have to line up. But I mean, if it's the right part, of course. I mean,
you are really phenomenal.
Thanks. But that's not up to me. That's the only thing. You know, we're actors. Our success is not up to us.
We're the ones we are always willing to look outside the box.
We're like dogs. Actors are like dogs. We live on hope. Will you throw me a bone? Will you take me for a walk? Right? Because if I were to say to you, gosh, I mean, if I'm a star, if you guys help me and elevate me through whatever good works, Facebook and Twitter, the social media is huge now. Following me on Twitter is a big deal. Because what happens is the studio goes, oh man, he's got a lot of, that's interesting. That's butts in seats. That's how it works. The fans have recognized me, I think, very well over the last few years, and Hollywood is not quite as quick as the fans. We're smarter than them. They're bean counters, my friends, and accountants. They're lawyers and accountants, and nothing wrong with, I love both of those people. But once you're saying they're in charge of saying what a good story is, I mean, that's a crock of shit. You know? And that's why they crank out a bunch of crap and the indie stuff is way better. Because the guys deciding it, unfortunately, for the most part, it's corporate. It's corporate decision making. And the same reason why we're having problems all over the country, that Monsanto is poisoning our food and killing our bees and all that stuff. Well, they got just big money and they got a lot of lawyers and and the story's exactly the same in Hollywood, unfortunately.
That is unfortunate. And as far as the critics crashing on Johnny, they suck.
Absolutely, we know better than that.
They're a bunch of burnout hacks that need to get a new line of work.
But my thing might be, where I get a chance to do that, might be in a smaller picture. So then I would depend on the social networking to get you guys to see it, and therefore spread the love that way.
How do we find you on Facebook?
Just go to Lee Arenberg, and it's at Lee Arenberg on Twitter.
Okay.
And I'm
Martin,
always on there,
what's
and I
yours,
talk to
Martin?
my fans.
Martin?
Same?
Same?
No, what's
Say
your
Lee
Twitter or
Arenberg.
Facebook?
Oh, what is mine? I don't
You're
know.
at Martin Kleba.
Oh, okay. Martin Clever.
He's not on Twitter. We
No,
gotta
I
get
am
him
on
more
Twitter.
involved. He's on there,
But
but
I
you gotta
don't-
be. He's not into it. I'm on there every morning. I don't read the paper anymore. I go to Twitter. I see where some guy says, "Oh, because of the homosexuals, it rained in Colorado." That's what some guy said. So I go, "And the Earth is flat." And that's my comment, and then let the conversation start.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Seriously, please make your question quick.
Dude, I am ready.
6 minutes.
I am so ready.
I was told 5 minutes, 10 minutes
Hey,
ago.
we're done when we say we're done.
I've done my stretches. I'm
Okay,
prepared.
all right, good.
David Faustino.
What is the coolest perk you guys have gotten by being in Disney franchises?
Coolest work?
I mean, the coolest perk for me is when I go there, I don't wait in line. I can ride the rides as many times as I want.
But we get to come in the back. We come in the back. We
Yeah,
get
you
to
go
come
in the
back.
back and ride. It's like, because every time you do Space Mountain, you just want to go one more time. So I go like 5 in a row.
Do you guys go on Pirates and pretend to be your characters in the
I
boat?
love Pirates.
No.
You know,
I do.
that'd be
But
hysterical if
listen,
I was
I grew
looking
up-
at my ride photo and he was in it.
Photobomb. No! But I grew up, see, this is the thing. I grew up in Southern California, right? The people I went to high school with, like Sean Penn, Emilio Estevez, Robert Downey Jr., Rob Lowe,
John
right?
Cusack.
Well, Cusack I met in college. It was a little later. But I wanted it so bad. My family wasn't in the biz. And you see that studio wall, you might as well be from, like, you know, the middle of nowhere.
Detroit.
Whatever it is, where you have to make the trek, right? So when I was a kid, I used to go on that ride and love it the most. So when that happened to me, they couldn't find Short, Bald, and Crazy in London, and I won the part. That was a good time, for sure.
Last question.
I love that one.
That's an old but goodie.
That's a good one.
In season 1 of Once Upon a Time, you say a comment to Snow, and my best friend and I constantly use this term. You say, at least keep the little knife between your tuffets.
Yeah, you gotta keep the little one between your tuffets, baby. She was
Is that the
going to a
butter knife?
powwow, and Grumpy was like, there's no way I'm letting my main girl go unarmed, you know?
Did you have a tough time trying to say that and keep a straight face?
Not till now.
Yes. Yes, I did. I had a tough time just saying it, actually. It was one of those tongue twisters. But the thing about Once Upon a Time is it's that super real. Like, we are so super real in our seriousness. You ever notice the most pretentious actors, guys, talk like this? And do you know why they talk like this? It's a power play, because it makes you lean in, right?
Dude, that's weird. I was just working with, I just finished a movie with,
It's so.
Avery Brooks did that to me for an hour.
I just finished a movie with Nick Cage and Chad Michael Murray, and I was just saying it's the same thing. Like, Chad Michael Murray was doing a lot of, we're in the same airplane cabin, and he was talking real like this. And I'm like, how are you getting picked up? I mean, You know, but they do it somehow. It comes off, and
They usually have the directional mic
Yeah.
to really hit it. But the thing is, too, it's definitely a power play. But my point is you're just trying to communicate with it. So if you get a line like tough, or I had the worst one I had to say was last season, I had to say, you do know that computer hacking and pickaxe hacking are two different things, I say to Josh Dallas. And I was like, you try and say pickaxe hacking fast. It's like, and natural, and as if you're just saying it, pickaxe hacking. It's like, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Martin Kleba and Lee Arenberg.
And I lost control of my car.